Alright, we have moved across the way, mainly so we don't have all that dust flying on us all the time from everyone speeding by us. We just moved 2 spots over to the farther way where they won't be running. Maybe we moved onto the path. Maybe we got it fixed. I sat there and cycled the key until I no longer heard any air in the lines, and it sounds okay. I don't have the fuel pressure regulator monitor hooked to it yet. I was going to change out the fuel pump. I don't really want to do that here, but I cycled enough where it doesn't sound like there's air in the lines, so that might have been part of our problems. And I was able to get a little more power out of it just by starting it up and getting the turbo out. And the gauges are moving, the temperature gauge and the other one. I still need to relocate the water temperature gauge to somewhere else and tie the block one in there, because the computer still thinks it's -40 because the other one's not hooked up, which might cause some issues down the road. But we'll mess with that tomorrow, and we'll go for a drive tomorrow. We'll hook everything up and just go for a drive tomorrow. And then the truck, I had it almost timed perfect, and I messed with it and it got worse. And the stupid timing light I got from I got this supposed to be self-powered timing light. The stupid thing's not bright enough to see. It may work, but it's not bright enough to see. So I'm gonna send that back to Amazon, along with a couple other things. I'm gonna send back to Amazon as soon as I'm able to send stuff back. I'm gonna send a bunch of stuff back because I have a limited amount of things. Anyhow, this is $12 on Amazon. I hate that, and I don't need it, and I'm going to send it back. So, along with a couple other things. But I am going to keep the gauges and try to get them hooked up. But apparently I need a special adapter to hook it up to the fuel bowl. All right. Oh, it's done. Do like flexible cover there. Make life a lot easier. Ooh, and look, it does work like a flexure. If this works, it'll be my first successful flexure. Oh, that came off nice and clean. So, this is a flexure, and the goal, or the thinking behind it, sorry for clutter. So I have these gauges go on my thing there, and what I'm thinking is if I it needs more flexure in it, but I think that will work as far as design goes. Then I can put those on my pillar. I put my gauge in it, and I can just screw straight to my pillar, and then we can don't have to pay $120 for that thing. We just put our gauges in this, and we'll screw it through there, and that will help hold it in whatever weird angle. But that is a flexure if I've ever seen one. Okay. So watching someone else fabricate, we're trying to get the angle just right on our dash part so we can get that going. I pulled this match thing. It's not big enough to do what I want it to do. What we want to do, one of these days I'll get it cleaned in here, probably whenever I actually get down the road, but I need the gauges first. See the pillar here They sell these, but they only have about 4 gauges. I want 5 on this one, and I also don't want to pay $130 for it, and I have a 3D printer and a design thing. So one of the first things I did while I was on the truck, I figured out what I want the gauges to face me roughly. I got them mostly right, but I used a screw to screw, so the flat part of the screw is the gauge and where I want it to face at me, so I can refer back to it. And so all this screw holes will be missing. This part's really cheap actually. So that's my reference to direction, so I can look at it and get it the right angle and everything else. Then I have taken another hand, which is currently holding a camera right now, and angled this piece up at the same angle as that, and got a little imprint there. Preferably, you know, kind of match this face right here with that screw there, parallel, and put that against there. It's not a perfect match at all, and I'm about to drop it because you guys are being held with the camera hand now. And now I transferred it to cardboard, and I need a longer piece on there to check it out. I'll transfer this over, and then once I have this out, we'll transfer this to the CAD program. So we're going to try to do this in my messy house. But you know what? I want to get down the road, but I also want my gauges, the very expensive gauges I spent money on, to be able to use. So I'm just set you all up right there. I'm just going to. I have so much cardboard because I've been ordering all my parts for this repair for my main rig through Amazon, and then I broke my secondary rig the other day, as you may or may not know right now. So I have a bunch of cardboard, and since I'm almost out of 3D printer filament for the first time since I've gotten my printer, I needed more filament, and for some reason I thought I ordered ABS and PLA, but I actually ended up ordering 2 deals of ABS. Cardboard method is the old method for doing this. Let's see if we can get you adjusted right. So this second one has more of a accurate portrayal of angles, right? So if you, this is not a perfect method, and that's why you use cardboard for it. But if you hold your pen against it, you will get a small section out. You cut that out, and you keep doing that until it kind of gets in there. It is not a perfect method for doing it, but it's better than nothing. And I need to get somewhat, I can use tape to fix some of it. So, and my goal is to give me enough of an angle that way if we print up something that goes on here, it will fit pretty dang close. And my flat here is flat with this thing, that way I get the angle right. And we'll go from there. See. And what I should do is mark it on here so I know that I'm pulling from the same spot every time. So I'm trying to pull from here. And that's pretty darn close right there. That's the angle, and if we can figure out how to transfer it into FreeCAD, and angle's just right. How does it look down here? It looks good down here too. How about up here? How much can I use the same angle? Oh, there it is. Yesterday's flexure thing, we broke the flexure off because it didn't work. It took up too much of the vision there. I want it right on line with the pillar as much as I can. It won't obstruct my view as much and everything else. So this is how it is on the pillar sticking out. It's okay if it sticks out a little. I just want to be able to see all those gauges that I'm attaching easily, and I don't want to obstruct my view as little as possible. And the thought is if we can just make it for certain positions So if we make it for this position, this position, this position, we can sell them, and we can make some money, and get ahead in the world, and not be so desperate right now like we are. And we don't have to eat black beans and rice, because that's the cheap food. But anyhow, back to that. If I set that up right there, and with the screw heads, see how the screw head, you can kind of see it? That's the makeshift gauge. It's not perfect right now. It'd be farther resistance or refinement. So we'll probably have to mark these gauges off at different positions. So if you want to get some, you know what position you're buying for, and probably measure it to make it look better. But that gives enough room for the gauge to hang out. And there's plenty of room in front of it. This is not really useful space as far as driving. But, yeah. Anyhow, yeah. Let's go from there. That was a 4-hour print that I destroyed. It's okay. I mean, I have an idea to make it quicker too and make it still look good, so that's not a big deal. It's a prototype stage, and when you're in the prototype stage, it really doesn't matter. So, let's see, what else do we need? And because we are trying to keep this angle straight, we need to square that off. We have way more cardboard than I normally do in here. So, yeah, there we go. If it doesn't fit right, you twist it a little farther and it fits a little better. And that's when you don't have the angle right. Let's see if I can drop a little. Yeah, marks easy. Drop a small angle on it and kind of get the positions. Another position. Another position. There's at least 3 of them. I don't think this one. Yeah, that one's starting to lose it. So, and the bottom one is going to be its own special one because it's just doesn't really work. There you see the angles up there. We can position it off kind of like you would a boat hull. Now, one of the other things, what I want to do here is that gauge cluster. This gives me a pretty good accurate on the gauge itself. So if I drop it there, the other mark should be about here. Proper gauge height. And then I can also take it here. I'm just going to go a whole other gauge. Let's see here. I'm just giving myself a whole gauge height here, here. That's about right. We're eyeballing this, by the way. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if we put this one here, we got about 5. That would be 6. So I get 3 of them with that one pattern there. And roughly 3 of them. And turn it the right way. Close enough. I might take a shot down and see if I can trace the angle on the camera and import it and trace that angle in. And what we'll do in FreeCAD, we'll extend this out farther, get that sit in there, and then we'll mark this spot, and then we'll bring the angle in here and do a cutout on that angle, and that should just butt up right up against that. And then we'll try to smooth it over. It'll probably be quite a wild print. Kind of want to go to my next spot. I still think the fuel pump on my truck is bad, and so I might try to throw that other old fuel pump on it and see if that takes care of the rest of the problem. It did start and it did have some power yesterday when I drove it around, but I need to do a proper test because it always feels like it has power whenever I first start it. Yeah, I did explain why I think it's fuel pump, mainly because it takes forever to pressurize the whole rig. This box in town, so I can order the stuff that I need to actually properly order for the fuel system that I know it needs, because Amazon will not take it from Amazon lockers. The other problem is we're in California right now, and we can't get half the stuff we really need to do it because of